Hi, how are you?
Good.
Hey, we've got some friends already here waiting for us. That's great.
That's cool.
Yay. Yeah, that is cool. Hi, Gina,
Hi.
Helen, Izzy. Hi, everybody. Come in, come in. How's everybody doing today? Stop in and say hello. And let's take a minute here. I'm going to take a minute and share this to my groups, and then I will introduce my guests too. So let's see here. If you all would share too, we would really appreciate that, because we appreciate the positive message getting out to everybody. So, and of course it takes a minute here, it's like, it's thinking. So come on in, everyone. Come on in. Let us know you're here. How's everybody today? And of course, too, please let me know if you can hear me okay. I've had issues before. Hi, Marie. Nice to see you. Can you hear me okay? Please let me know. Hi, Marlo. Hi, Lacey. I'm just taking a second here to share it to a couple of groups. And if you would share it to your pages, we would greatly appreciate that. So, hey, Lori, can you hear us okay? Or can you hear me okay? Let me know. I've got one more here to share, and then we are good. I'm trying to share on my phone, and that's slow. Hear you great? Okay, great. Thank you, Lacey. So, hey, Marie. Nice to see you. Hi, Lacey. So let me introduce my guests to you. Oh, this other one is not going to share very good. All right, I'll give it a second. Okay, here we are. There we go. Share, share, share. All right. I think we're good now. So, hi, Brenda. Nice to see you. Today, I have two special guests with me. I'm so excited. We have Lucinda Collis and Janice Eckert from
Hello.
Body Studios. Welcome, welcome. So let's all give them a welcome and come on in and say hello. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what they do, and then they'll say a few things, and then we'll take some questions, take some questions like we normally do for the hour. And stick around to the end, because at the end they have a special little treat for us to do a little tapping exercise. So we can all participate in that wherever you are. So that'll be a lot of fun. So Janice and Lucinda, they have created what Body Studios, BOTI is, and I can show their link right here, I think, for a moment. There we go. Yay.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
then when we're finished too, they also have a Facebook page, and I'll post that link when we're finished with the show also. But they do a lot of different healing modalities, and some that I am so really excited about. They do hypnosis, and that is actually one that I have experienced many, many, many times, and I highly recommend it. So if you guys are interested, talk to them about it. I've learned a lot of past lives, a lot of spiritual information, cleared a lot of karma. It's incredible experience, I thought. So they do hypnosis. They have something called emotional baggage release. They do psychic healings. They work with law of attraction, which, I love that too. I'm big with that. Art therapy, I'm excited to hear a little bit about that, because I love art and I work with art. Tapping, we're going to do a little tapping exercise at the end, so stick around for that. Aura cleansing, house clearing. They also do Reiki certification classes, so if anybody's interested in becoming a certified Reiki healer, this is something you might want to talk about today. And they also have like 30-minute free consultations for all their services they offer. And this is just a handful of it. They have a lot more, so please visit their website when we're finished here and check out what they have to offer. So welcome, ladies. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Can you please tell us a little bit about how you came about with this BOTI? What is Body Studios? What is that?
It's an acronym, and the acronym stands for Beautiful on the Inside. And I've been, right? Isn't that great?
That
I've
is
been
great.
For like my path, right? And I'd already met Janice, and so I'd already pulled her into like my web, right? And and one day in meditation, I was inspired to start a business. And the very next day, I got the name of the business. The name of the business was Beautiful on the Inside. I was touched so deeply that when I shared it with Janice, it was like everything. It was like, wow.
It just
was
fits,
a really
just one of those things that just fell into place. That is beautiful. It's a beautiful name. Beautiful name. Boy, I tell you, we can get so much information out of meditation. It's incredible. Incredible. So thank you. So today we are taking questions about, of course, things that I cover before, crystals, angels, but I would really like to highlight some of the things that the ladies here, Janice and Lucinda, offer, because we don't have those kind of modalities that we talk about very often. So please ask your questions. We'll get to as many as possible in the hour. And please share this along so others can join us. We would appreciate that. And we'll have a little tapping thing at the end. So let me see. Yes, Lori says, wow, you're busy, ladies. You are. Hi, Gina. Hi, Lacey. Nice to see everybody. Come on in. Hi, Gina. There's Gina again. Hi, Shannon. Nice to see you. So please ask your questions, whatever questions you might have for any of us. While we're waiting for our first question, is there anything that you want to touch on, either one of you, to kind of describe, one of your services that you do?
You want to go ahead and do the emotional baggage release?
I'll expand on the emotional baggage release.
Okay.
What that's all about is that we literally get emotions trapped in our subconscious mind based on previous experiences, and they get trapped inside our body. They get trapped. Negativity gets trapped in our aura. So what emotional baggage release does is there's several parts to it. First of all, I take somebody through their timeline, and I take them back in time, and we release in major events sadness, shame, fear, guilt, because those emotions are stored in our subconscious mind, and they are what cause us to react to life in circumstances instead of responding to life.
Yeah.
So we release those, and then I do emotion code and release trapped emotions that are trapped inside the body. Then I do aura clearing, and then the last part of the emotional baggage release is Ho'oponopono, which is for forgiveness. So, because the healing can't be completed without forgiveness, both for us, for yourself, and for the other people, whatever's going on, in their lives. And so it's all grouped together, hence emotional baggage release.
Now, how long does that process take? I mean, is it in sections?
It can be. It depends on the person, how much baggage they have. Each session is about 3 hours long. Now, sometimes you can get through in one session. Sometimes it takes more.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks. That's a really great service. Let me see. I've got a couple questions coming in, and then I want to ask you something about your classes that you teach also. Hi, Lisa. Asking about what kind of crystals are good for grief. I recommend rose quartz for grief. It's really good for healing the heart, healing for compassion, forgiveness, and grieving. And it's so loving and gentle that you can hold it and sleep with it and keep it with you 24 hours, 7 days a week. So that's what I would suggest. Do you ladies work with crystals too?
Yeah, we do. We do.
Yeah.
We do crystal healing through Reiki. And
yes.
Yeah, I do that, yeah.
That's what I do. I use a combined, I combine them because I think the energies combined complement each other so well. It's just, Lori, hey, how are you? How long have you ladies been in business?
Separately or together?
Well, separately, together, whichever. Both.
So we're okay. So basically, we're the subtotal of the women that we're meant to be. So we're constantly growing. The business came together at the end of December, but it's been in the planning stages for maybe a year before that. And so now we're just embarking on this beautiful journey. We have an office that we share, so we share space. And right now we have a realtor looking for a larger space for us, and we're going to bring in more practitioners and cross over a lot more modalities. It's going to be
so you're going to have like a healing center, more or less. Yeah.
Yeah, very.
That's awesome. Yeah. Oh, that is so awesome. Yay.
Right? So the business is about 2 years.
Good. That's great. Okay, so I have a question here, and I don't know if the whole thing will show, but I'll read what I can here. Oh, it does show. Shannon had her first Reiki session a week and a half ago, and she's hooked. She's had the pull to take the courses and have identified 3 places locally. Do you have any recommendations on how to choose the best suited place to learn? And would you recommend to have a Reiki session with each one to see if they resonate? And also, I'd like to add a question to that too. Can you also explain your distance healing class? How does that work? So there you go.
Okay. All right. What we do is we use Zoom.us. And so it's a really good platform to be able to have live interaction with the students as well. We limit the space inside of the office to about 3 people and then 4 that are online. So it's a very interactive, engaging group, but it's small enough to where like you have like a lot of support in that moment.
Right.
As far as choosing somebody to get certified through, the suggestion that I'll have for you is this: go with your heart. Go with your heart. Just do that. Because Reiki is such a great complement to any modality that you now practice or anything that you wish to grow into, that you'll find Reiki will find you where you need to be found.
Well, that's true. And that's true with Reiki. When you do Reiki, the energy goes most where it's needed first. And then, so that makes sense that you say that actually to me. Yeah. So Shannon, yes, follow your heart, check out, all your options and follow your heart. That's great advice. So if you have any other questions about that, Shannon, please ask, and we can see if we can get into more, more details about any of that.
Yeah, good question.
And yes, also distance healing. I'd love to know about that also.
Oh yeah, distance healing is really cool. We do that all the time. So for me, it's like a no-brainer, right? But Debbie, you do distance healing as well, right? You have like those sign for yours as well.
Right.
And so it's very similar. Right. And so the crossover from doing a session with somebody or a treatment with somebody on a one-on-one in a classroom setting, it's just a larger group, and we still do the attunements one by one. So really good.
Yeah. That's a great service. I'm glad to hear that you're teaching Reiki and to be certified, because I don't know of anybody in my actual area that does that. I'm certified to do that, but I'm not where I want to do that yet. And I have other focuses, so I'm glad to be able to refer people to somewhere. So that's great. I think that's great.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of a know-it-all.
When did you start learning all of your modalities? How far back? I mean, how long has it been since you first started, both of you?
Well, I started hypnosis 5.5 years ago, and then I've gradually, all the things that I've studied, added different modalities, and with those modalities is how I put together the emotional baggage release.
I think it's awesome that you have your own specific thing that you created out of all these things that you've learned. So that's great. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I've done a lot of energy work throughout my life. So I guess I was introduced to my psychic senses a little bit early, and I used to like to just say that I was crazy because people would accept that more readily, and saying, oh, I have a voice in my head, or oh, I have a feeling about this, or oh, I knew that.
Yes. Yes.
And
yeah.
so for a long time, I went through a church and I did the religious background sort of thing, where like I participated in the laying on of hands for a while. And then I went outside of that atmosphere, and I learned that there's energy to be had everywhere. In fact, Reiki energy is universal life force energy, so you can have access to that anywhere you're at. Everybody has access to it. There's no trademark for it.
Right, right.
So what I was doing at that time was I was just drawing in energy, and I was using that to expedite healing, right? And at the time, I was able to visualize like what it was that was going on. But I only did that. I didn't do it for money or anything like that. I did it because I thought it was a cool trick, right? That's just how it felt, right? And my lifestyle at that point wasn't really lending to a healing modality. It was lending more to a Lucyism, right? And when I finally hit a certain age, I hit a certain age and I wanted more out of life. I wanted to follow my spirituality. I wanted to tell everything about the voices in my head being real, not needing medication.
Right. Yeah. I get it. I totally get it. Yeah.
And so I found Reiki, or better yet, Reiki found me. And when Reiki found me, that's when everything really opened up. I was able to step out of a lot of fear. And because I had a lot of fear of judgment.
Yeah. Sure, of course. I think a lot of us do. A lot of us.
That was so cool.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think you hit on that. A lot of us have a fear of being judged about what we think or see or feel about when it comes to spiritual things. And I mean, us three, but I think a lot of our viewers feel that way too. I know people in my group feel that way, and that's why I created that group, so it's a safe place to talk about things where you're not going to be judged. And I think you get to a point too where you get prompted, your insides are saying, it's time to say who you are, it's time to come out of the box, and it's time to be who you are and shine your light. And I felt that twice, and it's just, and now I feel like, okay, I'm so glad that I'm out, but it's hard to hold that in and back, and it kind of does something to you when you hold it in and back. You're not being true to yourself. So, but it is difficult to deal with the judgment and the criticism and the comments and the, all the negative things that go with it. But now I just kind of let those things just roll off my back. Do you too? Yeah.
Oh yeah. It had gotten so bad. Well, I was also experiencing how do you say hormones? What's the experience?
Just say it. Hormonal stuff.
And so because of that, I really couldn't tell the difference some of the times, whether they were my own thoughts or whether they were spiritual thoughts. Because a lot of them they weren't necessarily, it seemed as though some entities that I didn't want around were there, right?
Yeah.
And so it was very chaotic in that moment. Yeah. And so it had gotten to the point where I was ready to come out of the psychic closet, if you will. And I would go in. I used to have a group of people that I was in charge of, right? And they would be like all quiet and everything. And I'd walk into the office and I could hear everything that was going on. And it was just like so chaotic to me. I didn't know what to do with it. And it was just like, I'd stand there and I'd be telling myself inside, please be quiet, please be quiet, please be quiet. And it was just like, it was pretty interesting.
Oh gosh.
So,
my goodness.
To come out for sure.
Yeah. Hi, Marie. Thanks for stopping in. You're drawn to all of this. I'm so glad you're here. So please let us know if you have a question. Yes, it's all very interesting, and there's so much to learn. There are so many avenues you can do in the spiritual world. I mean, there really are. It's just unlimited. It really is. And whatever you're drawn to, I think is important to kind of follow that. I've tried many different healing modalities, and I really like some of them, and some of them are okay. So it's just kind of like you have to figure out what works best for you, So,
absolutely.
Lisa, I think this is the same one from before, but it's up again. Crystals are good for grief. That rose quartz. I totally recommend rose quartz for grief. I don't have one to show you offhand. I'm sorry, but Rhodonite also, and green aventurine. Yay, there you go. Rose quartz is my favorite, though. It's so beautiful. The energy is so beautiful. It's something you can just carry and meditate with and hold and sleep with. And if you're going through a lot of grief, you might want to do some meditation with the crystal and just kind of just connect with the energy and, see how that works for you. So let's see here. We've got Lori. She was in the hospital visiting a friend, and her roommate got a Reiki healing. They sat and watched, and once the lady was done, the pain she had been having in her neck for years was gone. She was amazed when they weren't even concentrating on you. Yes, well, you're in the room, you're in the space. You're going to get some of it.
I don't know if you know it, but we're like 99.9999% energy, right? And so the rest of it that's the matter. So you can only imagine how much can fit in the beautiful body and what doesn't, right?
Yeah.
So, shared space, definitely.
That's great. You got a little bit of the little, shared energy there. That's awesome. Oh, wow. Karen. Hey, Karen. Nice to see you. Reiki has changed your life for the better. 200% then. Wow. And learned pranic and shamanism. Very good. Awesome, Karen. That is terrific. I'm so excited about that. Wow.
You know what I like about that, Debbie, is that she has the background of all three of them, right? Mm-hmm. So she can pull in all that energy knowledge, right? That's so cool.
It is so cool. Yeah, I think that's amazing. And I love that too, that, when you have more that you learn and you can pick bits and pieces of it and use it and combine it like you do too, just use parts of it and just kind of combine it into your own specialized, service. So that's beautiful. Yeah. Oh, let's see here. I think, here's a great question. Hey, Brenda, nice to see you. What is Reiki healing and how is it done? That's a great question.
That's a beautiful. Go ahead.
Okay, so all three of us are Reiki practitioners, to say the least, right? And so I'm chosen. Okay, so Reiki is the Japanese word for universal life force energy. And you know how when a child is on a bicycle and the parent pushes them down the road and they don't have any training wheels and everybody's hoping for the best, but then you go, right? And then maybe the parent runs up and they grab the child and they kiss to make it better. That whole energetic exchange right there is the love and healing of the energy of Reiki. And that's the best way I can explain it to you. You can, everybody has access to it. It's not like you can say, oh, well, I'm a healer, because I'm not a healer.
It kind of comes through us to the person. We're a channel, if you will. Yeah,
exactly. That's so perfect, right? It's kind of like the funnel, right? Where we have a wider gap that the energy can flow through. And so we give you greater access and hold a space so that way you can promote self-healing. And so the body mind of the individual receives and draws the Reiki energy through us. And as they do that, the meridian system, which is like your energetic highway inside of your body, starts to communicate with one another. And then, we all know that they're connected with all of your glands and your organs and such. Mm-hmm. And that's how the energy flow gets to go ahead and increase, right? So it's almost like a energetic metabolism sort of thing.
Yeah.
And all healing is self-healing.
Yes.
Like all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. Mm-hmm. The practitioner is merely the guide or the channeler.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's a good way. A guide or a channeler or both. Either way. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, because when we start the session, we get to go ahead and we get to put the intention, right? Mm-hmm. But then you release the intention because Reiki is it's intelligent energy. So it knows what it needs to do. The recipient and the energy are the ones that are involved in the healing. And so if you remember as a practitioner to just hold the space and let it go for their greatest and highest good, they have the best treatment and the best experience possible.
Yes. And I have found with the clients I work with that it's a very deeply relaxing, session while they're in it, while they're receiving it. And then afterwards, they will start to notice the changes, the physical and the mental, emotional changes, whatever comes to them. that they needed. Is that how you find too? Is that what you find?
Oh,
in your
yeah.
session?
Well, on Mondays, so on Mondays we go to this place. It's called the Learning Light Foundation, and they do discounted treatment for people who aren't able to afford it at a regular site. All right. And we donate our time to the community. It's how we pay back the community. And so there was a lovely young lady, she was in her 80s, that came in on Monday. And so I was able to do a Reiki treatment on her. And it was the bomb, because it was like she was my grandmother. And she's just like, oh, I have bloating right here. And so after, like, wow, that was awesome. And so I helped her up, and I even gave her my bottle of water.
Oh my gosh. Shannon, she had an out-of-body experience during her first Reiki session. Do you have any insights on this? It was crazy exciting.
Yeah. And so,
Go ahead.
you don't want to do that one? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh, this is
You're the out-of-body experience expert.
Okay, so like I
That's
like
good to know.
to astral plane, all right? But
Yes.
like I love to do traveling. I love to do traveling. And Reiki has opened that up for me, right? And so one of the great things is that like during the treatments, right, you have a tendency to be able to let loose of any inhibitions, right? And so when you do, you get to go ahead and visit the most likely place for you that you need the healing. And it could be in a past, a present, or a future, because there's no time or space for Reiki. So the experience is crazy. It's awesome, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody can experience it differently too.
Yeah.
You know, I think that deep relaxation is still there for everybody, but I think everybody can experience different things. I've had clients where energy just shoots out of their limbs, you know. I even had a client that had a paralyzed leg, and she felt energy go through that leg during the session, and it lifted up off the table. And she was like, what just happened? You know, she was just like, so you don't, you know, it's all very positive. It's doing the healing work, but you can experience different things. Everybody can experience different things during the sessions too. So colors, visions, energy, sensations.
Or nothing at all.
Or nothing at all. Yes,
Exactly.
I've had clients that feel that too. Until later they come back and say, now I feel something. So it's different for everybody. Yeah.
Right. I did do one session with a young lady, and it was during a case study that I was doing, and it had to do with crystal Reiki that I was. I wanted to do some clinicals behind it so that I could be able to present it as a decisive difference in modalities, right?
Great. Okay.
Yeah. So when I did the case study, the young lady that I did it with, she's also in the healing practitioner space, right? And so she had, I think, level 1 or level 2 Reiki, and she's also she does shaman work, and she's very gifted, right? And during her particular session, she went and did a soul retrieval, and I, as the practitioner, got to watch. It was so interesting, and so I have that when that happens. But she came back, she goes, oh wow, and so it was very right?
That is exciting. Yes, that is exciting. Wow. Okay. Here we go, Lori. What's pranic and what's shamanism?
Where is Karen?
Yes, Karen. We could use your it's pranic is a different heal. It's a different energy, different name for energy. There's several different names for energy. There's Reiki, there's chi, prana. Oh gosh, there's a lot of different names for energy, and pranic is another name for energy healing.
Another name for energy healing. It's a different sort of modality because of their style and discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And, the energy is basically the same, but the way that they utilize the energy is in a different practice. Mm-hmm. Still a healing modality that holds space for the individual to be able to do that. Shamanism is a little bit more extensive, and that lends to the elements of the earth. Mm-hmm. Let's go back to pranic healing just for a second. Pranic healing is based in India, Asia, right there. And then shamanism is based in maybe the South Americas, the Aztec in there. All right. So it's indigenous. The two healing modalities that you're asking about are indigenous to the people. It's their development of it that has lended the names to it. And so the practices behind it are really what makes it distinctive. But both of them are incredible. In fact, I had a friend who got attuned to Reiki energy, but she was afraid because she couldn't feel anything in her hands, right? And so she went ahead and took some shamanism classes, and the shaman who was leading her was able to activate her hands to where she could feel the energy flow. It was so cool.
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow. Yeah. I took a shaman online course just to get familiar with it, and that is so deep. I mean, you really need a lot of time to devote to that to really get a good understanding of just the background and then the practices of it. It's a beautiful, beautiful modality, but it just wasn't something that I wanted to dive that deep into at the time. So, but those who do, more power to you, because that's an awesome modality to use. Okay, let's see here. Hey, Carol, nice to see you. Your friends are so critical, so you keep things to yourself. Just not just have them spoil the experience for you. I understand that. I think a lot of our, even some of my family really doesn't understand a lot of things I do, or even very close family. I mean, very close blood family just does not understand what I do. Even if I explain it to them, and that's okay, not everybody has to agree and not everybody has to understand, but, and keeping it to yourself, I respect that too. So
you kind of know who you can share it with, or among your friends or family, and you just learn when to not share it and when to share it.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I think it's very sad that not everybody is open to this.
Right. Yeah.
It's just reality.
It just is. Yeah, it is. And I think that's a good point. You do kind of have a feeling of who you can share things with, because you just get that little, they're biting a little bit on it, so you can talk about it. But the ones that are totally shut off from it and they don't want any part of it, that's okay. You just have to respect their beliefs, and that's fine. And if it protects you from any hard feelings, then that's fine to keep it in too. I mean, you have to do what's best for you, Carol.
Find your people, Carol. Find your people. Find your tribe.
Hi, Glenda. Nice to see you. You're here on vacation. Good way to explain Reiki. Oh, Lisa, you so need Reiki. Well, I think you're in the right place. And Lori, yes, I think a lot of people struggle with that. Our beliefs and how we feel, and that's that's another reason why I created that group, Crystalline Sage. If you're not in it, please feel free to join, and it's a safe place to talk about your spiritual experiences. Everybody's on their own different journey. There's no levels of learning, and it's just a place to share experiences with others that understand, that won't judge you. So
that was something that we found, Debbie, was that when we started trying to write content for our business, we got stuck with spirituality and religion, because a lot of people get them intertwined. And in some cases, for some belief systems, there is a dogma involved in a religious belief. Right. But for spirituality is actually a practice of an inner knowledge, right? And a religion belief is a practice of an outer belief system that's been introduced, right? You can internalize it and everything, and then it becomes part of your spirituality, and that's your story, and that's all fine, it's all good, right? And I'm not knocking any. I have such respect that what I've learned is that if I would like for myself to be heard, I need to listen first, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
What we did for the content was we changed it up to woo-woo and wellness.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Woo-woo meets wellness.
Oh, meets wellness. Okay. So hi Connie, thank you for coming in. So can a Reiki practitioner heal long distance?
No.
And, and also thought hands would have to on, maybe she means be like on her neck or something. I think that's kind of how she's thinking that should be done.
Right. Well, it depends on what level the practitioner is, right? So in your level 1, you get attuned. You get it's called an initiation, but you get 4 attunements or energetic attunements to the Reiki energy. And all that does is it just allows you, the practitioner, to plug in your cord to the electricity, basically. And so you get a better flow. It's not that you can't enjoy the light anyway, but now you get to be the lamp, right? And so as that person, you get to do one-on-one with people present or you present. You get to do a lot of self-treatment. With level 2, you get introduced to the symbols. And the symbols have a symbol that allows you to do distant treatment. The distant treatment is not healing. What it is Reiki holds space because, like Janice said earlier, all healing is self-healing. So the space that's held allows the energy and the recipient to get together, devise a plan for the healing that they need or want to encompass. And then as they communicate during that held space, they generate the metabolism of the energetic body. And so that's really what happens. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And as far as having to place your hands on a particular part of your body during the treatment, I would say you don't have to, but I would say, yes, that'd be awesome because Madame Takata, her best thing was a little Reiki is better than no Reiki. And so you're only aiding in the process in that moment because you have access to it right off the bat anyway, with or without the attunement. Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Hi, Pamela. She had a Reiki session once and was floating over the waves. It was beautiful. The water was so beautiful and peaceful. Oh, that sounds lovely, doesn't it? Wow. Cool. That is beautiful. That's something you'll never forget, too.
Right.
Lori, sad but true. When I get more experienced, it won't matter, but don't want to be swayed by them and lose what I've learned so far. Oh, the friends. Yeah. Pam has also had course in therapeutic healing. Oh, okay.
Wow. Cool.
That is cool. Yes.
That's great. That's more clinical, right?
I think it is. Isn't it, Pamela? You can let us know. I think it is. Shannon, how often would you recommend someone to have Reiki sessions?
About once a month. And then what happens is that the energy flows for about 7 to 10 days after the initial treatment, right? And it's still processing. And we found out that it has to process physically. Okay. So you want to drink lots of water after a session.
Oh, yes. Lots of water. Absolutely.
Any toxins that need to process can process, right? And so during the 7 to 10 days, while the energy is still implementing the healing with you, you have that processing system, and then you have a balancing that occurs, right? And that takes about 2 to 3 weeks, and so once a month usually works really good.
Yeah. And we also recommend taking an Epsom salt bath after your session. Epsom salt baking soda bath. Epsom salt pulls out toxins. The baking soda neutralizes it. And then you can, of course, put your favorite bubble bath in. But you soak for about 20 minutes or longer. And that just helps with the process of pulling out toxins also.
That's a good advice. Oh, yeah. Okay.
We get these little bags out with that.
Yeah, we make little detox kits with some little bags of baking soda, Epsom salt, bottle of water, and a candle and a tea bag. So those that come in for their first session, they get a detox kit.
Oh, that's nice. Wow. That is nice. Hey, Glenda, let's see. She was certified online for Reiki. What are your thoughts of online certification versus in-person attunements? That's a great question because I think a lot of people struggle with that too. So what are your thoughts?
Well, we were both We are both attuned online. We took our courses online.
Me too.
And
And then we attuned one another in person.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And honestly, we know that the attunements worked, and there is no practice behind it. You just, if you're going to do the attunement.
Oh, yeah, we were going to practice, but when you start, it is an attunement. Because we've used each other to practice.
Okay, so recently I went to a global Reiki seminar, and it was held in Michigan, and it was called "We Are Sacred Earth." And there's such a variety of modalities of Reiki right at the moment. You know, so many different varieties of disciplines and practices. Mm-hmm. And something that was discussed very heavily there was how we all come together as a community of Reiki. Just we are Reiki. And that was something that I really appreciated. It turned out that I was the only person that was there that was attuned online. I was the only person there that was able to consider myself a Reiki master within the period of time that I had been. And I was recognized by the Grand Master as such.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so it was like it was a really good experience for me. But what I found was that it's such a harmonic community, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the things that was brought to the table was that the way that the modalities or splinter groups or disciplines all came about was how the individual was able to receive Reiki. And so Reiki is going to make itself available whether a human determinant is involved or not. And so how it came across was that the focus would be we're all Reiki. And so it was really beautiful. So as far as my belief system goes, I know that the attunements work. I had a beautiful experience, and I had that one in distance. And then I know that the attunements are beautiful in person as well. And are they different? Each attunement that I've had has been a different experience. Mm-hmm. All right. But as you know, and it differs from person to person to person because the energy is involved, right? And so I think that learning online is a great way to go. In fact, what I had done was I had told the grand master that was there that was like my that was my plan was I was going to teach online, and she said, and so the beauty of this is that there was a webinar behind it, maybe 3 weeks after the session, and she mentions about somebody who was at this retreat and how they carried Reiki and who was attuned online. And so I took it as a great compliment for her to recognize me worldwide. It was like, that was pretty magical. Yeah. So as far as learning online, I'm all about it. Reiki will find you any way it can. Yeah.
Yeah. My experience with the attunement, because I was a little skeptical at first too. I was like, is this really going to work? But I took the course and I went through the attunements, and I was like, my attunement was just like such a spiritual experience for me. It was like one of the top experiences that I have received to that point. And it just, I was a believer after that. And I thought, wow, you know, I mean, I was just laying there and not doing anything, and I had all this information just like download, and it was mind blown, you know. So I was a total believer then. So again, that's something too. You really have to use your own intuition if it's something that you want to do in person with somebody or online. You have to decide that for yourself. If that's
that's why the suggestion: follow your heart. And so, you know, I did see a question pop up about what are attunements. And so attunements are the process of initiating an individual who wishes to begin the practice of Reiki, not only for themselves, but possibly for others in the future. And so during the initiation, there is a ceremony And the ceremony has 4 attunements for level 1, 1 for level 2, and then 1 for level 3. And in different aspects, it attunes you to the energy. And all that means is it's, because we all have access to the energy. The energy is right there. You move your hand, that's energy. It just works really good. And then if you're being attuned, it allows you to... Right now I'm receiving energy and I'm not attuned, right? And then as I open through the initiation process, the first, second, third, fourth, you can see that the funnel opens wider, allowing the energy to flow a little bit more freely through me. It flows to me as the recipient, because during a Reiki treatment, I as a practitioner receive as well. And then it flows through me to the other recipient so that they can draw in the Reiki energy. And that's really how it works.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Yes, I think that's great. Hey, this is a good question here. Let's see here. Iran, Iran, I'm not sure if I got your name right. I do apologize. What do you feel about access consciousness DNA clearing? Are you familiar with this?
No, I'm not familiar with DNA clearing.
No, I'm not either. So that is a good question. Maybe if there's anybody else that is in the group that might have some kind of thoughts on this, but I'm kind of curious too to know if you know more about it also, Erin, and let us know.
Past lives, or is she asking about trapped things in your DNA system that's been passed down genetically, or because there's a lot of different modalities that speak to clearing of DNA systems. Like a hypnosis regression, right? That'll help out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Emotion could, because that does trapped emotions in your DNA system, right? Mm-hmm. And then sometimes there's like Reiki will go ahead and you can set an intention, do a distance therapy treatment with them for a past place. So it depends on what kind of, what style, I think the hypnotherapy too, like I mentioned before, that's great for past lives. Do you do past life regression, Janice?
Yeah, learning.
Okay, I had a lot of past life regression through hypnotherapy, and so maybe that's might be part of what she's getting at as well. I'm not quite sure, but that healed a lot of junk that I was hanging on to. So.
And honestly, I don't know if that's actually because she did say access consciousness, so the DNA of the consciousness of the of the world, so to speak, right? I think it's Harvard. I think it's Harvard that has consciousness monitors at different places throughout the world, to where when there something that happens, they can monitor. There's like a rise in consciousness that they can monitor. Just shortly, I think it was like 4 days before 9/11, they measured it, and then there was like a tsunami that went off somewhere, and they measured it, and they could see like the rise of that. So I know that there's a study at Harvard that they're doing.
That is cool. I need to look into that. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's why I didn't answer the question.
Yeah, and Pamela said yes, therapeutic healing is so she was answering that for us.
Or clinical. Awesome.
Yeah. Shannon, what kinds of ailments can Reiki be good to treat? Excuse me. Go ahead.
I was waiting for you to speak to that one. No,
that right there. It can treat anything.
Because Reiki is I know, right?
Yes.
It's going to benefit anything. You're absolutely right. And Reiki is a complementary healthcare sort of experience. So first, before we answer that sort of question, what I'd like to say is a little disclaimer that if you do have medical circumstances in your life that need medical attention, I urge you to get them looked at by a medical healthcare professional first. Right?
Yes.
And then that way, they can make the determination, because we don't diagnose or treat, actually. We give treatments that are Reiki treatments and sessions and such. And a lot of the byproduct benefits are that your blood pressure will lower, you'll have a better sense of balance, you'll create a harmonic, just a really feel-good form of life, like a pep in your step, so to speak.
Yeah.
Somebody who has diabetes, sometimes depending on the style of diabetic that they are, whether or not they have to take insulin or not take insulin, and they can monitor their blood sugar a little bit more readily. Yeah. And that way they can notice that it will lower. And it's just, and so you know that anything that's going to take stress out, right, is going to make a better world for you. And because of that, stress plays into so many different things that go on as well as medical circumstances, right? So now you can lend it to that, right? So now you have a stress relief valve that you're implementing, and anybody who does like eating or smoking or has anxiety or high blood pressure, all of those things will get addressed, but being able to measure it clinically hasn't been done yet. But there's over 800 hospitals that practice Reiki, and there's the San Diego Cancer Research Foundation that teaches Reiki, and one of the benefits of that is that they perform Reiki on pre-op patients or pre-chemo patients, and that drops their necessity for a higher amount of anesthetic. All right. And then they go ahead. Yeah. And so they go ahead and they perform the Reiki after the procedures, and that begins to generate the self-healing process, right? So even if you see a medical practitioner for a stitch or something, right, he can only or she can only put the stitch in. It's still up to the body of the recipient who gets the stitch to begin the healing or the regenerative process.
Right. Yes. And thanks for saying the disclaimer. You know, I do that too. I have a disclaimer that, you know, we're not medical providers. This can complement what what you are seeking advice for, but and it's an amazing process. It really is. But also, I have like a little questionnaire I ask my clients before I do them, before I do the service, just to know exactly what they have going on, because I don't want to have any surprises if they're diabetic. I don't want to have any surprises if they're, and then they say, whoa, my blood sugar just like went, I have to adjust it, this and that. So I have my clients fill out a little questionnaire before I even administer the first session. So
yeah, absolutely. Great practice.
Yeah. That way there's just like, we're clear both ways of what's going on here.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hi, Carolina. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. She's a very spiritual person and would love to learn Reiki. Well, you've got Lucinda and Janice here to help. So get in touch with them and see if that's something that works out for you. I put their website in the little description before we started, but when we're finished too in this post, we'll put it there again, plus their Facebook page too. But yeah, feel free to reach out to them. Shannon has heard of DNA clearing. Believes it uses frequencies to clear, heal, a form of energy healing. Yeah, that kind of makes sense to me too. It does. It makes sense to me. Yeah, but it's not something that I personally know of. Like
not one of my
practices. Yeah.
Maybe not yet.
Not yet.
Who knows?
We're going to have somebody like that, though. I just know it.
Yeah, when you have your center and you expand, you'll have everything. Pamela, you have a shaman with you. I believe this person is from a past life.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that is cool. That is really cool. Yeah. I have seen past lives where I actually was a shaman. So that is really, really neat. So get into the past life thing. I tell you, it's a great experience. And you'll just want more and more and more and more. Lori, hi Lori here. Let's see. Doesn't Reiki help and open and tune your chakras, balance your chakras?
Right, because that's your energy wheels, right?
Mm-hmm.
And,
yes.
Yeah. So definitely.
Yeah.
Tune is a good word, but why would you use tune? I'm curious about tune.
Yeah, that isn't. I don't hear that typically like that. It's like balance, but maybe if you need a tune-up, huh?
Well, that leads me to believe that she hears that she gets audible messages. So I was just
yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. So we've only got about 5 minutes left. You know how time flies when you're having a great time. Lucinda and Janice are going to show us a little tapping technique that we can do together. So everybody just get comfortable and let's follow along. And show us what you want us to do.
Okay.
Take us through it.
Some people have heard of EFT, which is Emotional Freedom Technique, short, tapping for short. But Dr. Robert Anthony created what's called neurotapping, which is really, it's a short version of tapping, but very, very effective. Oh. So you start out with picking out something like a limiting belief that you might have, or if you've got anger going on or stress going on, and you gauge it from 0 to 10. And once you've set where you're at, you take your 3 fingers and you tap between your eyes and say, oh, this, fill in the blank, whether it's anger or limiting belief. Let's say it's a limiting belief that you're not smart enough to do something. So you say, oh, this limiting belief that I'm not smart enough to whatever. And you say, I let it go. It doesn't serve me. And then you tap over your heart and you say, time to let it go. It's safe to let it go. I need to let it go. And then you brush your hand, take a nice deep breath in and let it out. And say peace, because it just feels good. And then you gauge yourself again where you're at, how far you've come down. And then you keep tapping till you get to 0. And once you get to 0, it's very important then because you're tapping into your subconscious mind, because these limiting beliefs are in your subconscious mind. That anger is from your subconscious mind controlling you, or that stress, because everything is stored in your subconscious mind. So once you tap down to 0, then you replace it with how you want to feel, or what you want to, that limiting belief is that you're not smart enough. You envision that you are smart enough and you can do it, or that you're in peace and with a lack of anger, or no stress in your life, whatever, however you want to feel. And that's just a really quick way, especially it only takes a few minutes. If you're really stressed out at work, you can stop and tap. I mean, sometimes I tap on the freeway because time management is not my best suit. So.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
So we had several people today talk about how they feel limited as to who they can share with. And so because we know what that is. That's fear, right?
Right.
So I have a fear about being judged.
I have a fear of judgment.
So that's the one we're going to do today.
Okay. So
now, I have a question first. Is there a certain amount of taps that you do, or is it just through the statement?
Just while you're saying this, this limiting belief or this fear of being judged, I let it go. It doesn't serve me.
Okay. All right.
So it's safe to let it go. I need to let it go. So
okay.
Go through the whole, just start?
Yeah, will you talk us through the whole thing, and we'll all just tap and follow along. How's that, everybody? Are we ready to go with some tapping?
Pick something that resonates with you. Gauge yourself from 0 to 10. And so we'll start tapping. We're going to use all of this fear of being judged. I let it go. It doesn't serve me. And now tap over your heart and say, it's time to let it go. It's safe to let it go. I need to let it go. And now brush your hand a couple of times. Take a nice deep breath in. Let it out. Peace feels so good. Gauge yourself again. And you might be, if you're at a 10, you might drop down to 8. You might even drop down to 5. So whether you drop, we'll tap again just to drop you down more. Oh, this fear of being judged. I let it go. It doesn't serve me. And then over your heart, time to let it go. It's safe to let it go. I need to let it go.
I need to let it go.
And then you brush your hand. Nice deep breath in. Let it out. Peace feels so good. We'll tap one more time. So this fear of being judged, I let it go. It doesn't serve me. And over the heart, it's time to let it go. It's safe to let it go. I need to let it go. And then brush your hand. Nice deep breath in. Let it out. Peace feels so good. And then once you get to 0, then just replace it with people accepting who you are or learning. You want to do one more tap? She wants to do one more tap.
Let's do the replacement one.
Um,
People are accepting it.
Oh, okay. We could do. People are accepting me. I accept that. People that are accepting me, I accept that.
Oh, okay. People that are accepting me.
How are you? Okay, and then just over the heart.
People are accepting
me.
I accept that.
People are accepting me. I accept that. And people are accepting me, and I accept that. And then just brush your hand. And deep breath. But then again, you just take a moment and you just visualize what you want to replace. Because I kind of look at it as you're tapping that out because you don't want that. But you don't want to just the whole.
Yes.
You don't want anything to come in there. You want to replace it with what you want.
Like taking out a negative and putting it with a positive.
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Thank you for that demonstration and that little technique that we can all use. That's just wonderful. Thank you so much. If everybody could give me a big warm thank you to Lucinda and Janice. Thank you so much for coming today. I can't believe how quick this hour went. I mean, it just flew by. And I really appreciate you coming by today to spend some time and talking about these things. And I hope all of our viewers got something valuable out of it. And I will post your information for everybody. I'll post your information when this is finished here, and so they can get in touch with you if need be. So we've got some thank yous and namaste and some thank you.
Thank you for being there, everybody.
Everybody's thank you. Love and light to you. So thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. And I will be back later in the week with some other crystal fun shows. And Saturday, I have the meditation for peace at 7 o'clock Pacific time. So please join me then, and I will see you soon. Crystal blessings, and until next time, thank you. All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.